Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game of the tabletop is called Nevera Wars. Nevera Wars is a 2-player game. It's for approximately 20 to 30 minutes and ages 13 and up to play the game. In the game, you play as a necromancer, and your objective is to either collect energy by playing your cards or minions face down, or you can spend energy to play minions face up on your field. Now you have 3 spots in which you can place minions, and you're able to ascend them as well, provided that you have the currency and the card required. And if you can do so, you're going to have stronger minions, and they're going to ascend into higher forms until you get their final form. Now, when you lose cards, they go to your discard pile. And cards discarded are actually going to be points for your opponent, so you have to be careful not to lose too many cards. At a certain point total, your opponent is going to win the game. And that is basically the idea of how you play the game. Let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so here we have the full set of cards for Nevera Wars, and it's going to come with 2 separate decks for each player. This is one of the decks, and this is another one represented here. There's going to be 6 different types of cards, or different sets of cards, and each set is going to have 4 of 3 different types, the smallest to all the way to the largest, right? And every single one of these cards is going to have different abilities, so you're not going to have 4 of the same cards here, they're all going to be different, and you're not allowed to have 4 of the same card either. Every player is going to select 3, just like this. And they're going to take them aside and shuffle the cards and form their deck. After they do so, they're also going to take these life counter here that actually will move throughout the game to indicate how much health your different monsters have, and then the game will begin. Okay, so we're going to begin the game now. The player who is going to go first is going to allow the other player to draw an extra card for their turn. And this player here is going to look at his hand. Here, let's see what he's got here. Phantoms, Crusader, White, Phantom, Bounds. The first thing he wants to do is select one of these things and turn it into energy. Well, let's see if we have any duplicates. We have 2 Phantoms, so we'll get rid of one of them, even though they are different abilities. You just select which one you would want. Turn that into 1 energy. Now, of course, you'd also draw at the beginning of your turn. It would just so happen that your opponent also has an additional card, which is still another Phantom, so we're definitely still going to turn this into an energy. And we can't play anything, because the top left-hand corner suggests how much it's going to cost to play certain cards. 2 being the lowest and 4 being the highest here. We only have 1, so whenever we don't have a monster summoned on our side of the field, we're going to have to discard a card, which will in fact give our opponent a health. So we will, or not a health, sorry, a point for the end of the game. So we're discarding a Phantom card. Alright, now the next player is going to draw, and he's going to look through his hand as well. He's just going to go ahead and play something. He'll play the, let's see, he'll play the Shackled as energy. Also, he can't play anything as well, so he'll have to discard a card. Go with this one. And now they're tied 1-1. Next thing, draw a card. Let's go ahead and play this Crusader down, because he is not useful. I will explain why in a second here. We're going to expend 2 energy, and we are going to summon a Phantom. We can select any of these slots that we want, and then once we do go ahead and select a slot, we're going to take this card and place it right here, representing how much damage he has taken. If he at any point goes to 20 damage, he is considered to be wiped out, and he goes to the graveyard or the removal discard pile. And these are his abilities right here. Each one of them will cost a certain amount of energy, as well as if anybody wants to play something on top of it to ascend this to the next form, it'll cost just the next cost, and it'll show you on the card. So now he can't do anything else because he has no more energy to spend, but he has a creature, so he's not going to discard a card, which is good. No more point loss. The next player is going to draw a card, expand into energy, summon a Bound. Put it on 0 right there. Alright, and he's done. We'll get going a little bit here so I can show you some cool stuff the game does. This thing here. Now we've got 3 here. So if we want, we can spend this 3 right here. And we happen to have a white. And right here it says what it needs in order to summon, which is a Phantom. So you play it right on top, as well as the fact that it is now higher health, so it'll need to take more damage. And all the abilities are stronger and cost more. He has nothing else he can expend, so he would end his turn, and the next player will go by drawing a card. Do we have the Bounds evolved form here? No, we don't. So we can go ahead and play something like this Fungus here, and we can also spend, let's get rid of this Shadow and turn it into energy. So that was 2 right there, and now we have 1 left to play as an ability. So we will do 1, and the only ability we have is this one right here, which is a Whip. So it says 2 damage plus 1 damage to a different target. Unfortunately, we only have this one target here, so it'll just take 2 damage and go down the track by 2. If it ever hits 35, that will mean that the card is dead, along with the bottom one. And it also has a backside too, so after it gets too far, that will happen as well. So back on the 2. Also, whenever a monster is removed and put in the graveyard, if it was ascended a couple times, every monster underneath it will also go to the graveyard, and it will also count as additional points for your opponent. So be aware of that as well. Next thing, not another draw card. All right, what do we got here? Squire. Do we want to do that? We don't want a Squire. It's not useful for us right now. There's 3, 4. Let's go with 2 and play another Bound and add another health thing. Just like that. Oh, this one has one as well from last turn. Okay, what do we got? We have 2 more we can spend. We'll do this. For 2, we can do Spark. 2 damage, plus your opponent may not use 1 of his energy next turn. And this person would take, this minion would take 2 damage. And they would go back and forth like that until one of the players reached 9 points. And once that happens, the other player is the player who has the 9 points is the winner. Let me go ahead and talk about the game. So that is the basic idea of how to play Nevera Wars. Once you hit 9 points by removing minions from your opponent's side of the field to the graveyard, you are the winner. Also note, remember that all of these different cards, even though they have the same name like Bounds and Phantoms, all 4 of them are different, and you can never have the same card in your deck unless it has different abilities. And I like that aspect. Also note that all of these different trackers are representing the 3 different types of monsters you can have in the field. You can only have 3 and no more. Whenever you don't have a monster in the field, you have to suffer a card from your hand to the discard pile. You can have as much energy as you want, provided you play them from your hand. And every single monster can only do abilities once. Let me tell you how to think about it. Alright, so what to say about Nevera Wars? Now, first of all, it's a pretty simple deck-building card game. It's a 2-player game that involves selecting decks, selecting characters or minions and putting them together to make a deck to fight another player. This game plays very similar to Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. It involves evolving your monsters or ascending them, as well as your specific type of spellcaster attacking. So what are the benefits of the game and what are the negatives? The first thing to say about the game is it's got a very dark theme. And if you like dark themes, I mean I do, and dark art, you're going to like the style, the feel of this game. It does feel very dark when you're playing it. I like the fact that even though they have similar cards of the same type and the same name, they have different abilities on all of them, which makes them very difficult to choose between when you're selecting which one has to go to become energy or which one has to go onto your field. They also have a lot of different things involving all the different types of attacks and abilities on the monsters, which is really, really nice. Also, you're never going to get mana screwed in this game. That's pretty beneficial. You're always going to have the energy you need. Right, so in a game like Magic, you're not sure if you're going to actually have the cards you need. It's going to be based on a little bit of luck. In this aspect, you're always going to have these amount of cards, so you're always going to be at least able to play one of these. However, you won't be able to play additional ones. Maybe you'll make cards for that, I don't know. So that is another benefit as well. But with these benefits come a little bit of drawback. The first thing to say is that when you're having to discard cards, you're going to run into the problem of being card screwed. So you have to be very, very careful at which ones you want to discard at a certain point at the end of the game, because everything starts costing more. Another thing to note too is these score cards, or these health cards, health life trackers, they are really cool looking, and they have a little double-sided aspect, which is really cool as well. The problem with them is that when you are putting them down on the table and you're keeping track of health, they can slide off and, you know, you would lose track of the health. And we did that several times, having to try and remember. So that one is something that maybe will be fixed. Maybe this is just, because this is obviously a prototype, so I don't know exactly how they're going to fix that. The last little thing, and this is a little thing, but I noticed that the characters have creature types like ghost and skeleton, and then right next to it on the other side, and they are differed by symbology, is the ability to ascend and which monster it needs on the field in order for it to ascend into the monster you're holding, right? I think it would probably be better if it said, like, if there was a symbol that said what it ascends into and what ascends from it, as opposed to a type, because it just gets a little confusing. But otherwise, a very solid, straightforward card game. It has that extra little bit of deck building, which is very, very simple as far as what types of decks you want to put together. And they make it nice, too, because they can tell you what's best for beginners to play. And then you can kind of create your own. And also, it's one of these things where it could be a living card game, so you're going to maybe buy different sets of your 12 cards, right? They come with different factions and stuff, which would work very well. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I like the game a lot, but you're gonna have to decide when you see it based on the rules for yourself if you're gonna like this game. I think if you're a Magic player, you're gonna like it and you're gonna understand it fairly quickly. It's fairly simple to understand in terms of that. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon players will also pretty much grasp the game straightforward, right? So it's up to you whether you want to get it. For me personally, I really do enjoy the game, and I've definitely pulled it out a couple times even after our playtesting session, so if that tells you something, then great. It's a fun little game with a dark theme and an interesting mechanism of not being screwed out on that spell energy. So go ahead and check out Nevera Wars. Alright guys, thanks for watching the Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. If you like this game, go ahead and check out the rest of our videos here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment, they all help. As well as checking out Nevera Wars on Kickstarter, go ahead and check out in the comment section below or the description below and you will see the link and go ahead and check it out for yourself. A nice little dark themed card game. As well as going ahead and checking out our website, unfilteredgamer.com. We've got tons of blog posts, giveaways, and our huge Kickstarter list, so go ahead and check that out as well. As our affiliate websites, everythinboardgames.com, The Giveaway Geek, and Devatos Gaming. Alright guys, thanks for watching, I look forward to seeing you next time.